name is Janet. I am part of the Women in 3D Printing Next Generation event organization team. I would love to now call upon Rashmi and Julie Miller to the table as we start. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So excited to be here, and I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, so I think we did something right in the first cohort. The entire team is very excited to launch the second cohort, and Julie is going to be our amazing host for today, so stage is all yours, Julie.
All right, thank you, Rashmi. So now I figure out. All right. Can I get some indication that you guys can see my screen? Awesome. Thank you. So welcome to our kickoff meeting for cohort number 2 of the Women in 3D Printing Next Gen Mentorship Program. So as we said, I'm Julie Miller. It's nice to meet you guys. I am currently working as an additive manufacturing engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And so I'm really excited to kick off this meeting today because I love all the work we've been doing on this program to bring mentorship to 3D printing. And really, I've always had so great experiences through mentors and through mentoring, and it's really helped to further me in my career, but also just gives me good questions to think about. And so that's what we kind of hope to bring to you guys today. So we're going to introduce kind of our toolkit, and most of it is just kind of questions to think about and how to kind of structure your meetings as you start kicking off between your mentee and mentee pairs. For the agenda, so we've already been through our first 15 minutes of virtual networking. Right now we're going to do kind of the kickoff slides. We also are going to have a panel with some of our previous mentors. So hopefully they can share with you their experience and what worked with them in the last cohort. And then we'll return and hopefully have some more time for networking at the end of the panel. So proud to share, exciting. We have 36 matches this time around. And those matches are from, we have a ton of mentors. So between this cohort and the last cohort, we've had over 120 mentors sign up. And we were able to make these matches out of these. And over 50 organizations have participated, which is really exciting for us to see people from all over the world who are using 3D printing and additive manufacturing, and so many amazing mentors that have been willing to donate their time to help inspire the next generation. And also, speaking of that next generation, we've had almost as many mentees sign up. So we've had, and from tons of schools all over the world. So it's one of my favorite things about Women in 3D Printing, that we do have chapters all over the world, and it really brings the entire community together. So now into a couple more specifics about the program that you guys have all signed up for, or if you're here just to learn more about it. This is the Women in 3D Printing Next Gen Mentorship Program. So how it's going to work, we have begun the matching process. Most of you should already have received your matches by email, or if not, you should be getting them by the end of the week. Unfortunately, we've had a couple people sick on our team, so we're a little behind, so bear with us. We are working on it. And then the goal of this is, once you receive your matches, our kind of baseline expectation is that you'll meet with your pairing 3 times over the next 3 months. That is the baseline. So if that's what you can contribute this time around, that's fine. But also, I've heard of mentor pairs meeting every week for 30 minutes, every other week for 30 minutes. I knew one pair that just met up kind of as a happy hour at the end of their workday because they were in the same time zone and just kind of talked until they ran out of things to talk about that week. So we'll give you some tips, but really how you guys want to structure your meetings is up to you. And a little announcement that if you enjoy what we're doing, you really get a lot out of this program, please share it with friends at your university or coworkers. We will be doing this again. The next deadline to apply is December 31st. And we're hoping to kick off kind of a Q1, Q2 2022 for our next cohort in probably February. Okay. So, kind of what are we expecting of you? So a few more expectations. One, get connected. We generally recommend that the mentees reach out to your mentor, show some initiative, and send that first email or connect on LinkedIn to start chatting, kind of working out what's going to work for your pairing. Like I said, our minimum requirement is 3 meetings of about 45 minutes over the next 3 months. And really what I want to talk to you about and share some resources about today is how to set goals. So we found that this program really works the best when people come in with something they want to get out of it. And so that could be something as simple as, I just want to learn about networking, or, I'm completely new to the field. It just sounds so cool. Can you tell me about what you do? But having those expectations really starts the conversation off in a good direction. And then from there, you can kind of set more concrete goals of how you're going to proceed. And at the end of it, we hope that you'll come back and we'll share our stories with you, or you'll share your stories with us. And so we can continue to then share some of those stories with the next generation and make the program better from there. And so, timeline of events. So you've already applied. You did step 1. We're working on step 2, getting everyone matched up and getting the pairings ready to go. The kickoff event is where we are right now. And so the next kind of check-in you're going to get from us is that the community managers are going to send out check-in emails about halfway through the program, likely around November. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to your community managers before that. That's not at all a problem. This is just our way of making sure that we check in, make sure you guys have had your chance to meet, likely had your first meeting by then, and make sure that we're all on the right track. And then we'll also have another closing event at the end of this. So if you have a great pairing and you'd really like to share your story, start reaching out to your community managers, and we will likely do some panels at the end if you'd like to participate. And then again, next year we're going to start the whole cycle over again. So I'd like to introduce our community managers. Some of you guys have already received your emails, so just to put a face with the name that you're seeing on the screen. So like I said, I'm Julie Miller, and we've already met Rashmi and Janet briefly on this call. We've also had Marina and Mary and Meera, who have been really instrumental in this program, as well as more people than I could name that have been helpful in getting this all kicked off. And we really do appreciate the full support of the Women in 3D Printing community to get this initiative off the ground. And so I keep telling you about stories and how we want you guys to get involved, and if you have a really great mentorship experience. So I'd like to invite up today's panel we have Mara Hitner from MatterHackers and Emmar, who is also a mentor from Tapestry Inc.
So Tomer and Mara, please turn on your camera and mic. Perfect.
Awesome. All right.
Hey.
So it's wonderful to see both of you. And thank you so much for agreeing to come up and be on our panel this time. So I gave you guys a brief introduction, but maybe we'll start with Mara if you want to talk a little more about who you are, your background, and how you got into 3D printing.
Sure. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. My name is Marina Hitner, and I'm the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships here at MatterHackers in Southern California. It is 9:30 in the morning. I had an experience in the mentor program. The way that I got into this industry was through people being really nice to me and teaching me things. So I give that back. I do not come from or 3D printing or engineering or anything. MatterHackers sells desktop 3D printers and materials. I was working in sales and advertising for many years and singing in rock bands. I wanted a change of career, 3D printing on a TV show, and cool and creative. And I got sucked in on that creative aspect of it. And so I went to a trade show, which is a great place to network, looking to get into the industry. A trade show for 3D printing and just start meeting people. But that's where I found out about MatterHackers, and I really liked it because it was a place I could learn 3D printers and materials and software, and then kind of see what best. Turned out what I liked best was MatterHackers, and I've been there for 2.5 years. started as business development, built the sales team there, learned all the technology for desktop 3D printing and applications, and now I'm in strategic partnerships. So I'm just thrilled to be able to share any knowledge that I have, and also to share my network. So like if I don't know the thing that you know, I might. That's part of what I really love about this industry.
That's a great point. That's really what I feel like our community does bring to the table of, if I don't know, I'll find someone who does. You know, my background's in additive, like, you know, in metals, but I know I can go to you for, you know, how do I get a desktop printer that's going to be amazing for my application? So Tomer, glad that it looks like your internet's back. So how about you answer the question, how did you get into 3D printing, and tell us a little more about you?
Yeah, I actually studied industrial design forever ago, and after that I started my own jewelry design company, which was a combination of 3D modeling, hand fabrication, and 3D printing and casting. And after doing that for a while, I was working as an industrial designer, and we were prototyping our wearable devices with 3D printing technologies. And that was like a job I had for a couple of years. And then I moved to New York and got a job at 3D printing service bureau, Shapeways, which I know some of you know. And after having these 3 jobs, I kind of like reflected on the things that made me happiest at all of them. And it was basically, you know, designing and making jewelry in 3D, having exposure to fashion, working in with 3D printing as a prototyping tool. And I wanted to figure out a way to combine all these things together. And that's how I ended up where I am today, where Tapestry, which is the parent company for Coach, Kate Spade, and Stuart Weitzman. And we use 3D printing technologies to prototype across every category, hardware, jewelry, footwear, visual merchandising, props, perfume bottles, just anything, jewelry, a lot of jewelry. And that's kind of like how I got into 3D printing.
Oh, that's really exciting. And I really liked your advice on how to kind of look at what you're doing now. What about this job do I really enjoy, and what have I enjoyed throughout my career to kind of develop that dream job at the end of the day?
Yeah, I would definitely say that I'm in a very unique position with my job.
All right, so we'll start with you on this next question. So have you had mentors in the past that have had a really profound impact on your career?
Yeah, I not like officially, like not part of a program. And the reason I'm here is because, you know, like I want to give back what I wish I had when I was going through school, or, you know, like just starting out my career, because a lot of what happens in the real world doesn't really get taught at school. So having that exposure was really great. But yeah, I worked for a guy who basically knew that I did not have like professional experience, but so based on my portfolio, which was not amazing, you know, at the very beginning, he kind of like was able to see that I have all the skills he needed for the job. And he basically trusted that like with a little bit of guidance, I will figure it out. And that was a really cool experience because like he was the type of person who will like push you to do your best. And by the end of the 2 years, you know, we went from like the idea he had to a really high-end functioning prototype with an almost finalized manufacturing process. And at that point, I couldn't help him anymore because I don't really have that like engineering experience. So that was a very sad moment for me because I was like, I want to help you, but I can't. But we got it to a really, really good point. So that was really cool. And it was the same thing with my job at Tapestry. The person who hired me, she saw that like, okay, like he never worked in a fashion corporate company, but he does have 3D printing experience. He does have jewelry experience. He does have 3D modeling experience. So he has all these skills to like be able to perform well in this job. But even though that he didn't work in a company like ours, I will give him a chance. And she created a job for me because the job I applied for, she hired somebody else into it. So it's you know, I feel like along your path, you will find people who believe in you, and these people will open up opportunities for you.
That's a great point. And yeah, Meera, I know you have a similar story of you kind of said you needed this job, so I'm going to have this job at MatterHackers. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your mentorships throughout that period.
Yeah, that's a totally great point. And I think, you know, right now it's a time for people looking for jobs in general. There's so many options, and to be honest, like it's a employees market. I don't know how you say that, but like employers really need good employees for a job, and you have any skill that can be applied to the industry that you're trying to get into. That's what to hook into. So my history was in sales, selling advertising, hated it. I was like desperately wanted to put good into the world with the job that I had. All I was doing was like people pay to put ads before videos that you want to watch that you don't want to watch these ads. When I found MatterHackers, like I didn't even know exactly what I could contribute yet to the industry, because to be honest, I didn't know anything about the industry except that I thought it was cool. But I knew that I could sell. I knew that if I could talk to people about it, personality. I have a creative mind. I have more of a creative mind than a business mind, I would say, even though they kind of dovetail. But like I could think of ways to tell stories and to get people excited about 3D printing in ways that maybe they hadn't, you know, thought of yet. Because most of the at that time it was 16 people, and it was a lot of engineers, and so they didn't maybe have, you know, they think differently than I do. And so I came to the table with, you know, this big personality and like, but in thinking about, so much like, is it Tomer?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Tomer, yeah.
Tomer, okay, thank you. Yeah, so much like Tomer, I didn't have like any formal mentors that I could point to, but I just asked a lot of questions. And found people that were to, that just, you know, like he's kind of, you know, something in might be useful to their company. And hackers, I think the fact that we did think differently, I have learned so much from the leadership at MatterHackers, and they've also learned from me. So I think it's important. I think sometimes people think that they have to find like-minded people and like people that they really fit in with. And I think that's not always the case. Like find something like Tomer said, like you're really passionate about, and bring your background, bring your strengths, bring your creativity or your engineering mind, like whatever it is that you know you do well. And then ask a lot of questions to kind of see where you can apply it to be a contribution to the company that you want to work for, to the industry you want to get into.
That's great advice.
Gotten off track there, but yeah. So no formal mentorship, just asking questions and finding people that were willing to talk, and just listening and finding where the gaps are that I could contribute. And that's what I do every day. It's still what I do.
Yeah, you guys have definitely peppered some really great advice throughout these answers, but I guess I'd end our panel on what, do you have any advice for our pairs going forward, either from your last year matching's last cohort of what really worked for you guys, or us? Just really something you wish that the mentees would bring to the table. So maybe Tomer, we can go first with you again.
Yeah, so the first one is really obvious, but I'm going to say it anyways. Go into it with an open mind to learn from someone else. And, you know, like come in with the intention to hear a new perspective that might be different than yours. And then the other piece of advice that may be less obvious is for the mentees, like at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to put in the work. Your mentor is not going to do the work for you. We can guide you in the right direction. We can tell you our perspective. We can tell you what works for us, and we could share resources with you. But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to fill in the gaps and do the work. The advice will come from us, but you have to actually, you know, do it yourself. So I think, you know, show up and be prepared to, you know, take the advice and do the work.
I think for me, this was my first formal mentoring experience, and the most useful thing we did is that we shared documents in Google Doc, where every meeting we would, like the first meeting we wrote out goals for, you know, for the mentee, like have 3 clear goals. Like goals could be, I want by the end of the 3 months, I want to have, you know, 6 new contacts or 3 new contacts, or what that number is going to look like. For my mentee, she wanted to have stronger writing skills. So we said, you know, okay, we're going to look at, you know, 3 email responses that you sent to internship, and like look and, you know, offer guidance, those things. Like quantitative goals moving forward. And also advice for mentors would probably should be your network. And this was actually really great for me because the person that I was matched with, her career goals were not actually what my strengths were. And so for me to like find the best people to introduce her to, I had to like go into my network and ask, well, hey, do you know anyone that works in big data? Or do you know anyone that works in robotics? And so that was actually kind of valuable for me to kind of learn a little bit more about my network and who they know. So that was kind of cool. And I would say the biggest surprise that I took away from this experience is like, as a mentor, I felt like I needed to be really prepared and like have something able to offer. And the most interesting conversations we had was when my mentee asked me like, how was your day? What did you do today? Tell me the project you're working on. Tell me what challenges or what wins. You know, like Tomer said, like that's the stuff, like the day-to-day nitty-gritty of like challenges and wins is not really discussed in school. Like the reality of the day-to-day. So that was a surprise, and that's something that I'll definitely be taking to my next relationship, is just kind of those open-ended conversations of day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, for me, the way we approached it is when I sent her the first email, I attached the deck from the orientation that was very well done, and I told her, hey, can you please annotate on top of it and tell me like what are you curious about and what you want to learn more about. And she was she just wanted to hear anecdotes and stories from my career about certain aspects, and our meetings ended up being very conversational and very much about like my experience and how to tackle certain challenges in a strategic way, like networking and applying for jobs and finding, your purpose, like what's the right job for you. And then at the end, I basically culminated with an email after every meeting with a bunch of resources that I found helpful based on like what we talked about. So if they're interested in researching more, then they have like a good place to start.
That's great advice, and thank you for giving me the perfect jumping off point to get to the rest of our slides. So I'm going to release you guys both from the stage. Thank you guys so much again for being on our panel today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you to all the volunteers. You all work so hard on this program and just really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, so as Tomer said, we do have some more resources for you. So here's the start of our resource kit. And as he said, we will, first off, this is being recorded. We also are going to provide all of these slides to everyone at the end. So don't stress about writing down notes really quickly. And kind of Mara's advice as well, try to set, our first advice to you guys is to set very clear goals and not try to get, everything under the sun done in 3 months. So we generally recommend selecting 2. One of those trying to focus more on a hard skill, so kind of the technical aspects of additive manufacturing, and one on a soft skill, because as both of our panelists mentioned, a lot of your transferable skills are going to be how to work with people, how to, work on a team and use your critical thinking skills. And so that's why we kind of want to break it down like this. And so kind of to do this goal setting, the first thing you need to do is work out with your mentor. How are we going to meet? We highly recommend some type of Google Meet or Zoom, something that you guys can actually both have your cameras on and talk to each other. And also how you're going to stay in touch between meetings. Like Mara said, a Google Doc is amazing. I think I'm going to use that for my mentorship pairing this time. And also just acknowledging that what you guys talk about, you can share if you're willing to, but you don't have to. And also anything that's shared that's kind of proprietary projects you're working on, try to keep that just between the two of you. And so like we were saying, how to goal set, try to make them very concrete. So, I want to expand my network. I want to, decide on a career path after I leave school. These are pretty nebulous goals, but coming into them, even with that, and then working with your mentor on how are we going to focus on this? Are we going to work on, informational interviewing skills? Are we going to work on something very specific related to those goals? Will really help jumpstart the conversation, but also give you something measurable at the end that you can say, this is what I've accomplished, and have that sense of accomplishment. So this slide and the next one are kind of soft skills to think about developing, and kind of what questions, it all comes back to asking good questions, you kind of want to think it through. So if, like I said, networking, if your goal is to expand your network, think about why do you not feel your network is as robust as it should be? Or is it? And you just haven't reached out to those people in the past. How to do cold outreach messages. These are all things that your mentor can help you through, but it really helps when you come to the table with an idea of what you want to work towards to start with. And we also have kind of a listing of hard skills. So these are what, with input from industry experts as well as our volunteers have kind of put together of skills we think people tend to develop either before they get into additive manufacturing or in their first couple years on the job. And so these might be things you could talk about. So if you're, really new to the business and just are, like Mara said, I just got into this because I thought it was cool. Maybe like what software you want to learn might be a good question to ask, or what is top topology optimization. And so we hope you guys will take these slides and think through them. Like Tomer said, kind of annotate them to figure out where you want to take your mentorship, because it really is up to you guys. And also we do have a resource kit here at the end to hopefully lead you guys towards some more resources beyond just your mentors on what software we recommend, or how to get more involved in 3D printing events. So with that, I think Janet is going to come back up to release you guys back to a little more networking. Thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, without further ado, thank you so much, Julie, for launching this event and hosting us, and also Meera and Tomer for sharing your insights. Just want to share something that Meera mentioned was get involved, find your local event. There is an upcoming event that's happening in Chicago next week called Rapid Plus TCT. So if you are vaccinated, they are welcoming you to the event where you can actually meet a lot of the different additive manufacturing professionals in the sector. To add to that, there's also a lot of virtual events that are happening throughout the month. Almost every other day, there's like a virtual event. And there's a lot of opportunity for you to get to know other types of professionals in the industry. So thank you very much for pointing that out. Another thing we'd love to add is Monday, Women in 3D Printing will be opening up the Type 3D Printing Conference. For those who don't know what it is a all-female agenda filled with additive experts sharing their knowledge about technology, industry, people, and economics. We are opening up another section called Youth. So anyone that's younger than 25 years old, we also invite you to consider nominating yourself as a speaker. We love to hear from you, all the use cases, research projects, industry knowledge, workforce development programs that are being built so that we can help spread this knowledge and help accelerate each other's growth in the industry. All right, well, Julie, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to thank everyone for being involved in this second cohort that we're excited to begin.
Thank you. So we will now release you back to the networking floor. Feel free to double click a different table, turn on your camera and mic, and say hello. Have a nice one. Thank you.